All right, in this video, we're going to cover maybe one of the hardest parts of our job as on-site pros is dealing with difficult tenants.
Yeah.
Dealing with tenants that have a combative nature, or they don't want to let you do your job, or whatever the case may be, and they give you these objections. So let me start by saying we really do try very, very hard to communicate well on the front end in the scheduling process so that they know what to expect. The call center takes it very seriously, trying to put our technicians in a situation to where when you get to the property, you're in a situation that the tenant's not upset, they have realistic expectations about what's going to happen. It doesn't always happen, and so you have to overcome objections. And Mark, I think in your 7 years with On-Site Pros, you've seen and heard just about everything that you can do. So what we want to do is we want to take some time and let Mark give you some examples of hey, how can you overcome some of these objections? How can, when people come to you with certain things, how can you respond to them in a kind and loving way, but that still gets the job done on behalf of our clients? So let's start with one that says, well, hey, that room is locked because I don't want you to go in there, or well, you can do a report anywhere, but you can't go in my bedroom. That's private. How do you answer that?
What I'll try to do is smile and be respectful and say, oh, well, I'm so sorry, but I'm supposed to do a complete report. I'm supposed to be in every room to be able to prove that I checked the entire property. I mean, I'm just trying to do my job, and that's included in it. So I'm not saying right away, okay, I'm not going in there. I need to tell them, well, in a nice way that I need to go in every room. I'm supposed to. I need to do a complete report.
And what do you do, Mark, if they don't relent? If they go, hey, right, sorry, but you're not going in there.
If they continue to push it, I'll say, well, I'm not meaning to make you upset. Just letting you know it's my job. But if we can't do a complete report, we just got to get that approved. So I'm going to go call my call center and let them know, and they'll contact your property managers to make sure that's approved, and that's okay.
So let me tell you.
In the meantime, though, let's continue and get the rest of it done. So I'm respecting your time and get out of here as quick as we can.
That's right. So let me tell you what's going to happen kind of behind the scenes when you call the call center. The call center is going to call the property manager if they can get a hold of them. They will explain to them the situation. We're going to encourage the property manager to contact the tenant directly. What we're trying to do is keep you from being in direct conflict with the tenant. We want to make it between them and their property manager. It's really not our battle to fight. Sure. If we can't get in touch with the property manager, the call center or a manager will engage with the tenant directly. Our job or our goal is to keep the tenant or the technician who's in the property from getting into a situation of conflict. Mm-hmm. We want them to be mad at us, not mad at you. Sure. So let the call center or a manager contact them and go, hey, listen, we're not able to get a hold of your property manager. I understand that you don't want the technician to have access to this particular room. Know that if that's how you want to move forward with it, we can do that. But if your property manager receives the report and is not okay with us documenting that room, they're going to send us back out. We're going to have to make a separate trip, and there will be a trip charge that they assess to you. So if you're comfortable with that, if you're comfortable that you and your property manager can work that out together, then we'll proceed as you requested. But just be aware that there may be additional charges that apply if the property manager makes us come back out and complete the report as they had requested.
And as a sidebar, I think we want to communicate to you, if you ever feel unsafe, get out of Dodge. Get out of town. We got your back. We will understand and we will deal with that. Don't ever continue to push through in a situation where that little voice in the back of your head is telling you this is not right. You need to leave. It hasn't happened hardly ever. I know of probably 3 or 4 times in 7 years.
That's right.
But it does happen, and we want to make sure you are safe, and we got you back on that for sure.
So here's one that happens with some measure of regularity is you get out your ladder, you start to climb up, and then it goes, whoa, what are you doing? You say, well, I'm going to test the smoke alarms, and they go, you can't do that. My teenager is not awake yet, or I got a baby that's sleeping, or whatever the case may be. How do you answer that?
Usually, again, I'm going to smile and I'm going to say, "Oh, I understand that. I can see that. But please know that one of the most important things that I'm supposed to do while I'm here is test those smoke alarms. That's a safety issue, and we need to make sure that they function properly so your family's safe. If I left the property and didn't test those, I would be fired for sure. Just kind of make a joke about it. Fired, smoke alarms. But anyways,
wow.
Where were we? I lost my.
Yeah, just talking about, hey, I have to do that. And, I mean, if it's one of those things where, and you even, I know, have had a couple of situations where you've come up with some creative ways to
Sure.
work around it by moving
Right.
around where in the
That's
report
right.
you check them, or how you physically on the property where you check
There
them.
was a lady that told me, no, you can't, please don't test those because my baby is sleeping. And we tried to figure it out, and finally I came to the conclusion, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them down and take them outside and test them, and they function properly. Because just because you take a wired alarm down does not mean it's not going to continue to function, because it does have battery powered, and the rest of them are battery powered, so they will function if you need to take them outside of the property to test them. But if it's a windy day, it's going to be real difficult with your spray, so that should be a last resort. But sometimes it's a matter of either doing everything at the beginning of the report before the child goes to sleep, or waiting till the end. Maybe they're waking the child up before you leave, maybe that type of situation. But we cannot leave the property without testing those smoke alarms. So again, you got to be respectful and kind and smile and say, I'm so sorry, but that's a huge issue, and I have to test these smoke alarms. That's safety.
And ultimately, one of the things that it's important for us to remember, the tenant scheduled this appointment.
Sure.
We don't pick their time for them.
Mm-hmm.
They tell us morning or afternoon. They chose for us to come during this window, and we came when they chose, assuming that we arrived during the window when we're supposed to. So it is one of those things that we go, hey, listen, this is why we let you choose your window when it was convenient for you, but I have to get my job done. I have to be able to complete this report, and I have to make sure that the safety components of this property are up to date and everything's in good shape.
Yep.
So, all right, so here's one of my favorite ones, and I know this is a favorite of yours,
Right.
is you knock on the door, you introduce yourself, and they go, okay, well, I got to be gone in 20 minutes, so chop, chop, let's get this done.
Right. I'll immediately tell them, I understand that you're in a hurry and need to get done. Need me to get done, and I will get done as quickly as I can. Please note, I'll get done as quickly as I can. But it's not going to be done in 20 minutes. I can't do the thorough job that I need to do in 20 minutes. So please know that. And if we need to reschedule, you may be charged a fee if I have to come back. But please know I understand, and I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. It's I think there was an email that should have been sent to you. If it wasn't, let me know, and we'll figure that out. But it's supposed to explain that this report takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 15 or an hour and 30.
Yeah, it says
depending on
40,
the size.
45 to 90 minutes.
Yeah,
is what the email
depending
told
on
me.
the size of the property. But again, be understanding and smiling best you can, and respecting because again, they chose the time period that we came, and 20 minutes. We can't do our report in 20 minutes unless it's a one-bedroom efficiency.
Yep.
So.
And again, so you guys know a little bit about the process. When they schedule, they either schedule online and they have to answer a question that says, this report will take between 45 and 90 minutes, and an adult 18 or older must be present for the duration of the report, or they're read that over the phone on a recorded line, and they have to give assent to the fact that they understand that that's the policy.
Yep.
So they have given some sort of consent that they understand that it's going to probably take between 45 and 90 minutes, and that they have to be present for the entire duration of the report. Now, the caveat to all of this, and this is why arriving in our time window is so important. If we arrive at the very end of the time window, or if we don't make it in our time window, well, now they're kind of well in their rights to go, look, you guys weren't here when I expected you to be here, and I have appointments that I got to get to. at that point, we may have to roll you on, and maybe we don't get to charge them the fee, and therefore
Sure.
we don't get to pay because we didn't do what we said.
Right.
So just be careful with that stuff. But if we're showing up when we're supposed to be showing up, they have already assented to our policies. They don't have to agree with them. They just have to consent that, or they have to agree that they have been told the policies. And they have to sign off on that before we schedule with them.
And maybe it's a miscommunication between the tenants that live there. Maybe a husband, accepted all of those policies, and now the wife is there, or vice versa. Yeah. So at that point, some communication has to happen, and you do need to communicate that if. Let's just go ahead and knock this out. I'm going to go as quickly as I can, but if we don't, then you may be charged a fee if we have to come back.
That's right.
So
okay,
and there's nothing wrong with saying that. That's what I want you to understand.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And it's hard to say, and it's hard to get used to saying, but it's something that needs to happen.
And again, don't hesitate to contact the call center and let them deliver that message, because that way they can become the bad guy, and it's not a conflict between you and the tenant.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to hide behind the call center or your manager. That's what they are there for. So utilize them. Yeah. Let them be an ally for you. Let them advocate for you and be in your corner. So here's another one, and this one is sticky. This is a tough one. It doesn't happen that often, but man, it does get dicey sometimes. Sure. They look at you and say, well, you're not taking pictures inside, or you're not going to get my stuff in your pictures, are you? Because you're not going to take any pictures that has my stuff in it.
Right. And at that point, I try to show that, again, I understand, and I'll hat in hand again, respectfully. Well, I have to prove I was in every room and did a complete report, and that does include an overview picture of each room. Now, that overview picture is not super duper. It's hard to exactly see everything that's in there. It's not incredibly high def to begin with, but it's not like we're taking a bunch of pictures in every room. I'll try to communicate that way and make sure they understand I'm not taking pictures of walls unless there's issues. I'm meeting things that I need to point out and get close-ups of, which at that point is not going to get your stuff. Anyways, I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure I don't get your stuff in these pictures.
But it is going to be unavoidable in the overview shot.
Overview shot.
Just let them know, hey, my purpose in being here is not to capture your stuff, but I have a required set of pictures that I have to take, and that is one of my required pictures. And if they still refuse, again, what do you do?
Which more than once it has happened, and I say, okay, well, let's figure this out. I'm going to call the call center, and they're going to contact your property manager and to make sure that's okay. And a lot of times that property manager will come back and say, I approve. Or say that
NA the overview.
Right,
picture.
You can NA the overview picture, but please just take good notes if there's anything we need to know about, something like that, and we'll take that route.
And again, same thing. If we can't get a hold of the property manager, call center will call the tenant back and say, hey, listen, I understand your concern. This is our job. Understand we can omit those overview pictures. But if we do, they may send us back out, and they would charge you a trip charge. If you're okay accepting that risk, then we can proceed without that. You have got to put in your notes why you didn't take the overview pictures. Something else that you can tell them is, hey, anything that you are uncomfortable being photographed, feel free to cover it with a sheet. Feel free to remove it. Feel free to put it in a drawer. Yeah. Protect anything that you don't want to be seen or observed. That's totally acceptable. That's totally fine. But I do have to take an overview of each room. So feel free to remove or cover anything up that you're uncomfortable being in photographs. That's totally acceptable. Give them that option. Nothing in the world wrong with that.
Again, utmost priority is respect. And I mean, honestly, I understand where they're coming from. We're going into their homes and we're taking pictures. It's intrusive. It's difficult. What they're having to deal with is hard, and what we're having to do is hard. But we got to do it, and being respectful and understanding is going to go a long way.
So I think the big things that you need to take away from this, and there are a lot of other objections that we get, and we're not going to go over every possible objection, but when you respond, try to do so with kindness, try to do so with respect, and most important of all, use the call center, use your manager, Don't let it become a one-on-one conflict between you and the tenant. Let them have a disagreement with someone who's not on site so that you can go, hey, I'm so sorry that they're making us do that, but I'm just doing my job. And if they don't tell me that I can't, let it be a, gosh, I'm so sorry that they won't let me not do that. That stinks. Let it be a conflict between them and their property manager. Let it be a conflict between them and your manager. Don't let it be a conflict between you and them. Use the resources available at your disposal to help keep that one-on-one conflict from happening.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, guys, if you have any other questions, if you get into any situations, don't hesitate to contact us. We want to be there for you and give you those guidance pieces and keep you safe, keep you in a situation where you don't have issues. We appreciate what y'all do. And it's not an easy job, but you do it and you do it well, and we appreciate all you do.
On-site pros.